Death row inmate Robert Roberson is expected to testify in person today at the state capitol.
The convicted killer is accused of killing his 2-year-old daughter, Nikki, in 2002. His execution was delayed last week after a rare move from Texas Supreme Court. KPRC2 investigator Robert Arnold is heading to Austin and joining us live to talk about this hearing. Hey, good morning, Robert.
Hi, good morning. How are you all this morning?
Good. So, just give us a little bit of an update, a little bit of background, how we got here today.
So what we're heading to is going to be a hearing before the House Committee on Criminal Jurisprudence. The legislators on this committee have been investigating whether Texas's junk science law is working as intended, and they're looking at this case to make that determination. Let me explain a little bit. Texas, back in 2013 and then again in 2015, bolstered this so-called junk science law. And what the law essentially states is if you have a conviction that's based either whole or in part on science that is later determined to be either outdated or bad or wrong, you can appeal your conviction even if you've exhausted all your other appeals. So lawmakers are looking at this case to find out why that law was not triggered. And the reason for that is Roberson has been saying that the science that was used to determine his daughter died from shaken baby syndrome is based on outdated, bad science, that there's new science now that shows the science used at the time his daughter was killed was wrong thinking and inaccurate and could not be dependable. So lawmakers are trying to figure out why the state's junk science law didn't trigger a new trial in this case. They went through the hearings. All the appeals had been exhausted. Clemency had been denied. So the night before Roberson's execution, lawmakers subpoenaed him, said, well, we need to hear from him. He needs to testify at this hearing on Monday. That kicked off a whole constitutional crisis that we'd never seen before in this state. Does a subpoena from legislatures actually trump a death warrant in the state of Texas? Legislators said, yes, it does. So they got a temporary restraining order from a judge in Travis County. Texas Attorney General appealed that to the Court of Criminal Appeals, which is the highest criminal court in the state. The highest criminal court in the state vacated that temporary restraining order, saying, hey, this is a criminal matter. That's the judicial branch. You're the legislative branch. Stay out of our lane. We got a separation of powers in our Constitution. Well, then lawmakers appealed that to the Texas State Supreme Court, which is the highest civil court in the state of Texas. And the justices wrote that, you know what, at this point, we're not looking at guilt, innocence, crime, or anything. We're simply looking at whether or not this subpoena and the restraining order are valid and legal. That is a civil matter. That's our jurisdiction. We're reinstating the temporary restraining order, and that effectively stopped the execution that was planned for last Thursday. So now Roberson's going to be testifying at this hearing, this fact-finding mission. Whether this has any impact on his case at all is unknown, because Anderson County prosecutors, which is where he was convicted, are free to still go get a new death warrant from a judge in that county. The only caveat is procedure dictates that you have to wait at least 91 days from the date that you get the new warrant, that you stop his execution, or if it's simply delayed it. That's one of the things that we've been trying to find out. I asked legislators who were in Huntsville on Thursday, well, how are you going to help his case? All his appeals have been exhausted. They really couldn't give an answer at that point. So maybe we'll get some more of those answers today.
Yeah, Robert, and what's crazy about this, too, is that it really came down to 90 minutes before the execution. So all of this has been really down to the wire up till now.
Well, it's because of that back and forth that we told you about. You get the restraining order after 4. The Attorney General appeals to the CEA. The CEA vacates it. Then they appeal to the Texas State Supreme Court. Texas State Supreme Court went ahead and reinstated the temporary restraining order. So that's why it was all right down to the wire. Technically, executions are set to begin at 6 p.m. So it was even past that time. So to say 90 minutes, I mean, it was past the 6 p.m. time.
Yeah. Certainly a process here. We, of course, will stay on top of it. Our Robert Arnold heading to Austin for us. You can look for his reports.